Why did the DCU fail? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today is actually going to be a little bit of a discussion video. And it's really simple actually. How or why did the DCU fail? And when I say DCU, I mean pre-James Gunn. So everything from 2013 to, let's say, until now, The Flash. So the DCU started in 2013 with Man of Steel. First, brand new Superman, the start of something new. And this came out in a time where Marvel was ahead of the game. Marvel had about 5 or 6 films out by that time, including one Avengers film. So DC, I guess, kind of got a little bit scared. And I want to, actually, let me change that. Not scared, but came up with the idea of, okay, maybe we can make a cinematic universe. Maybe we can successfully make a cinematic universe on screen. Because if Marvel can do it, we can do it. So, Man of Steel. Brand new Superman, Zack Snyder directing. And that's kind of where the problem starts. One thing, actually no, let me change that. One of the biggest reasons why Marvel is where it is today is because they never forgot the fundamentals. All of these characters, Marvel, DC, anything that comes from a book or comes from, a source material, they each have fundamentals to it. Fundamentals meaning that they have this thing that is really their essence and is the reason why we love them so much. It's a part of the character. It's a part of why we as fans are so, why we as the audience relate to them. And that's what Marvel did right. Like if you look at the early Marvel movies, not a lot of them were very good. Iron Man 2 was not, a good film, At least that's what most people say. The first 2 Thor movies, not so good. But that's kind of where it starts, And the thing that they did right was they never forgot the character. Yes, the films were not good, but they kept that fundamental thing in each film that is the reason why the audience loved those characters so much and why they kept coming back to the theaters. That's all. I mean, that's really one of the biggest reasons why Marvel is where it is today. The movie might be bad, but as long as you hit the character and you get the character right, you will make lots of money and you will be successful. That's what Marvel did right, and that's why Marvel is where it is today. They never forgot where they came from. Where else with DC, Zack Snyder threw all of that out. He took the fundamentals of these characters that we love so much and just decided, he was like, you know what, screw this, I'm going to do my own thing. And that's where it starts. That's where the problem starts. He turned Superman into this dark and gritty, lonely character, which is traditionally Batman. And I honestly thought, you know what, so I said to myself, I said, okay, for a one-off, it's good. I understand as a director, you want to try something new. You want to give Superman a little bit more of a realistic take. And that's fine. But it should have been a one and done. And the box office speaks that. Man of Steel was not very successful. And a lot of fans did not like Man of Steel. And a lot of fans did not like Henry Cavill's Superman. Why? Because they made him like Batman. They made him dark, gritty, lonely. But the way that the film ended, Man of Steel ended in a way where Clark finally knew who he was. He knew why he was here. And my belief at the end of Man of Steel was like, okay, when we see him next time, he's going to be the optimistic, the hopeful Superman that we all know and love. But he wasn't. He was still dark, gritty, lonely. And that really irritated me because I was like, you've already seen that nobody wants to see a dark and gritty Superman. The box office and the critics speaks that. They don't want that. Fans don't want to see Superman that way, because that is not the Superman that we all know and love. But he didn't do that. Instead, he made a team-up film, which was way too early to begin with. I say this often. People, when they ask me about my opinion on BVS, I always say the same thing. BVS should have been the solo Batman movie. It should have been Ben's solo Batman movie, directed by Matt Reeves, with Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke as the main villain. That movie would have killed. It would have made $1 billion. I would have paid good money to see that movie. But I don't know why. I guess the studio got scared, and they were like, you know what? We need to beat Marvel, so we need to get a Justice League movie out as soon as possible. That was unnecessary, and that's something that, I really hope that James Gunn doesn't do, is rush things, because that was the biggest downfall of DC. The thing that DC has, where Marvel doesn't, is that DC has a foundation. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman are the three most important comic book characters, not just in DC, but in comic book history. Marvel and DC, actually a lot of companies, comic book companies, will not be where they are today without Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. They wouldn't. Without Wonder Woman, we really wouldn't have the kind of female lead, character. I mean, Wonder Woman was the first comic book character that really kind of brought that on. Like, when people saw back then, the mindset was, women can't do anything, because it was, the early 90s, equality wasn't a thing. But when Wonder Woman came out, they were like, oh my god, this is a woman who can go toe-to-toe with Superman. That was a big thing, and really became, without her, we wouldn't have Catwoman, we wouldn't have Scarlet Witch, we wouldn't have Black Widow, and the list, and the list goes on. Batman and Superman, they same thing, the vigilante class of superheroes wouldn't be here without Batman. Superman is literally the blueprint for a superhero. It's that simple. But for DC, they are DC's pillars. If you're trying to build a cinematic universe, a DC cinematic universe, you need to have the big three. Whereas with Marvel, they don't have that. Marvel could have started the MCU with anyone. They could have started with Spider-Man. They could have started it with the X-Men. They could have done anything. They don't have that. They don't have that kind of, what's the word? The weakness to where, they have to be specific with who they start, their cinematic journey with. DC has that, and you need Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. What they should have done was 2016 BVS should have been the solo Batman movie. 2017, and he understands why we loved him so much. It's that simple. He knows what he's doing. And what he does with DC, I'm just excited. I feel like DC is finally going in the right direction. James Gunn is talented, and he's really gonna put DC back on the map. He knows what he's doing. The only complaint that I have of James Gunn's newest reboot is Robert Pattinson's Batman. I just don't see the point of having two live-action Batman happening at the same time. Batman, right, happening at the same time. Because casual moviegoers are going to be confused. Like, comic book nerds and, people who understand the DC multiverse, they'll understand, okay, this Batman is in another universe. This Batman is in this universe. But to the casual moviegoer, who only watch the movies, they're not going to know. They're going to be so confused. I'm like, wait a minute, why are there two live-action Batman? Which one goes where? I honestly think the best thing that they can do is weave Robert Pattinson's Batman into kind of like the new DCEU and make him the new Batman. Robert Pattinson is 37, and he's at that perfect age where he's not too old, but he's also not too young to where he can play an older version of Bruce, who's already had 3 Robins, and and who can have Damian Wayne be his sidekick. He's at that age, and you can easily do a time jump. You can easily do a time jump from the Batman to Brave and the Bold. Because yesterday I saw this news that apparently the Batman 2 is going to have Robin. And that to me makes no sense, because what you're saying now is that we're not only going to have 2 live action Batmans happening at the same time, we're also going to have 2 live action Dick Graysons happening at the same time, which again is going to confuse people so much. But if that is true, if they are going the Dick Grayson route, then I actually do think that James Gunn is going to weave him into the new DCU, because I think James Gunn is a smart guy. I think he's going to realize how confusing it's going to be if they have 2 Bruce Wayne Batman and 2 Dick Grayson, having 2 Dick Graysons happening at the same time. One that's Robin, one's that Nightwing. I think James Gunn's going to realize that doing things that way is going to be a little bit tough. So that's my take on the new DCU. I'm beyond excited, and we've got a couple years. Superman Legacy is supposed to start shooting in January, so we've got a couple years, not a couple years, but like probably a year and a half before we see any type of footage, before we see the movie. But this is the start of something new, and I just think as fans we should be appreciative that we're finally getting DC back in films, and we're finally getting Superman back on films. We're finally getting Batman back. But yeah, so that's it for today. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Hit the notifications button so whenever there's a new video that comes up, you will know. Spider-Man 2 is coming out soon, so that is something that we will cover. And I will do a Batman Arkham Origins playthrough. It's going to be a New Game Plus, because I want to play the story with different skins. So let me know in the comments below that when I do the Arkham Origins New Game Plus, what skins would you want me to do? In what order would you want me to do? Because the skins got a couple. The game's got a couple skins, and I don't want to really waste time picking which skin do I do every episode. So let me know in the comments what order of skins you guys would want me to do for that game. Like I said, Spider-Man 2, excited, coming out October 20th, so we've basically a month and 13 days away. We will be covering that. So yeah, thanks again. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a nice one, guys.